The stage is now mine. Sorry, that guy was getting really annoying with this little Daily McBob, can't think of the name. But I was just flipping through channels again, and on the news, the main story on NBC, is that what that is? I don't, who cares? The main thing was just about a peacock escaped from a zoo and flew onto a window sill, ledge, whatever you call it. Does anybody, who cares? Like, the news has gotten so dumb. It's about politics, which some people find interesting politics. I personally don't, until it comes to election time, because I like to hear people argue, which is my kind of thing. But, does anybody care? Please tell me. Does anybody care about a peacock landing on a windowsill that escaped from the zoo? Is the peacock gonna, like, go to massacre and murder people? Is it gonna fly around and just take giant dumps on cars that crush it and kill you? No one cares. It's a freaking peacock. They're beautiful birds. Get over it. I mean, you know, it's getting on my nerves. Like, the news has gotten so dumb. And local news, if you guys live in small towns, the local news is like the greatest thing that has ever existed. They will go and they will find the dumbest thing. They will, like, the local news, I feel bad, honestly, for the anchors and the reporters, especially when it's a small town. Now, if it's a big town like New York, there's always something insane, awesome going on. It's local. Look at the new Broadway. But in small towns, especially small Missouri towns or, like, mountain towns, it gets just pathetic. Like, the best viral videos are of the news. Like, people will just sit there and stare at nothing. And they'll be like, yeah, okay, we're going to go talk to a local homeless man. How do you feel about being homeless? I want to go, I'm going to dress up homeless, and I'm just going to be like, I am great. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I love sleeping in the cold. Because, and they go and they talk to all these homeless people, but they never do anything about it. Ever. They just sit there and watch them like, yeah, so how do you feel about the shelters? Are you being taken care of? They're out in the middle of the snow. I mean, not now because it's summer, but, I mean, come on. And have you ever sat down and watched a documentary on, like, Discovery, like Planet Earth or whatever? And they're really nice. They're really neat and calming. Like, you get to watch something, and then you see a cheetah just take something down. You're like, wow, that's so cool. And then you see, like, a rabbit or some mole rat steal a baby cheetah, and you're like, wow. Think about that for a second. No, like, you know how sad that is? Like, at first you watch it and you're like, that's cool. It snuck up and the mama didn't see it and all that. And then you watch it again and you're like, oh my god, and I could hate to be that cameraman. That cameraman has no feeling. He is like, he couldn't watch a movie and cry because they sit there and they see something just steal someone's child, and they're just like, yeah, this is going to be a good documentary, I'm liking this. And they shoot it in HD as it rips the child apart and throws the head 40 feet. And they're like, this is great. That's horrible to watch. I don't want to watch that. Have you, like, that movie about the penguins, March of the Penguins, that was a good movie the first time you watch it, because you don't know what penguins do in their life. You think they just sit around in water. You didn't know they have to march across the continent with an egg between their legs. And then in some of the scenes, the egg falls, and you're like, wow. But now when you see it, you're like, oh my god, the egg fell! It falls and explodes. That's someone's, well, something's child. And then, not only is that sad, then it shows, like, the mama who's been gone, I say mama, I should say mom, who's been gone for 6 months away from their child egg thing. And then they're on their way to see it, and it's like, this is great. And then it gets ripped in half. Like, during the family reunion thing for penguins, whatever you call it, flock of birds, gets ripped in half. Like, what is up with that? Nobody, like, I couldn't sit there and watch it. I'd be like, oh my god, and smack a walrus. Run up and pimp smack a walrus. Couldn't deal with that. That's just ridiculous. You know? And they censored the book, Huckleberry Finn, or The Adventures of... And it's getting, like, they censored it because it said the N-word too many times. Dude, that book was written when the N-word was the name of a black person. That wasn't like, oh, you're a blah, 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 what's up, my nigga? Nothing like that. No, you were. It wasn't, you can be called. No, that's what you were. So it's a messed up. You can't censor that now. Should we go back to the movie Roots and censor it? Come on. This is getting ridiculous. You can't censor a 400, not literal, it's like a 100-year-old, 120-year-old book. You can't do that. It just isn't right. Whose idea was like, you know what? I'm going to censor that book. The librarian that came up with the idea and started getting people behind her, or him, or whoever it was, to ban that book is a jerk. You think that you're loving books and everything? You don't. If you're going to be like, that book is wrong, okay? They can't say that. That's just not nice. So they go and censor it. That doesn't make sense. But here we go with other books, and you can run around and cuss, and you can do all that. And they're like, you know what, I'm good with that. You know what, this is written by Tom Clancy. He's writing a book about a dude jumping off a mountain, breaking a dude's neck, while blowing up a bomb, killing 40 children. And that's okay? But you can't say the N-word. Oh, no. No, no. When that was acceptable, no, nope, doesn't count. Doesn't work like that. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, I love to read, and I've mentioned this before. You can't make a good book bad like that. That's just like a dumb thing to do. That's like me going into an art class and start writing a book. Like, you can't do that. I want to thank everybody. You guys are the greatest. I will definitely be back. You guys are just great. Thank you for everything. And my last thought for now, not going to say today because I'll definitely be back, is this. You can show alcohol videos and commercials and people drink and all that, but how come you can't show anybody smoke? I want you to think about that. No